why small wins made me fall in love with my work. So I used to always want a lot from my life, but everyone who kind of was an inspiration or someone who was in the position that I want to be in online always shouted and basically preached the same message, right? Work hard. The problem the problem behind that statement for me was a couple of things, basically. First of all, I found working very hard on something that I don't know that it's gonna work extremely boring, right? Going through the motions about which I have no conviction, I have no idea whether they will work, I don't know anything about the subject that I'm maybe kind of tackling. It's my first time doing these things, and I just thought that it is an incredibly boring thing to go through. You know, working hard is just straight up plainly boring. And whenever someone who's an inspiration for me would shout into camera that you have to send 100 personalized LinkedIn messages or something, or emails per day, I would think, like, after 30, I'm already absolutely exhausted and I do not want to go on. So that was a challenge. Secondly, I wanted big things, but I never found that kind of wanting that or that career would define me. So I always saw life as like a very multifaceted or multi-channeled experience, meaning that I can enjoy so many different things in a different way, that working hard or working like 100 hours a week or something is just gonna be very personality consuming. And I never thought myself as like a very career oriented person. So kind of that work hard message always, I felt, is kind of blend together with a follow your passion message, which I think kind of makes sense, right? If you're gonna allocate so many hours of your life, it might as well be something that you're passionate about. It might as well be something that you sincerely enjoy. That made all the sense in the world. The problem was that I could never like pinpoint what exactly I'm passionate about, right? There's so many things that I like doing, but if you were to tell me that I need to do them every day for the rest of time, that would, scare me, and that would actually disencourage me a lot. So, if someone were to tell me that I have to, let's say, kite surf every day for the rest of my life, all day, every day, it might be cool for the first week or two, but then I would feel bored. If someone were to say that I can, I don't know, play video games all day, every day, I would feel that I'm going backwards, Same for going to the gym, same for anything that I sincerely enjoy doing now. So, doing it 5 to 10% of the time versus doing it, 60% of all the time that you're kind of awake, or 80% of the time these are two very different activities and two very different beasts. So I always thought that maybe kind of doing something big and something remarkable is for a different breed of people. And I still do think that, because it is, especially kind of, it depends on what you consider big, but it definitely is something that not everyone should strive for. And I thought that, it's a mixture of two things, right? For that breed of people, it's working very hard, and that's following your passions. And I didn't have any of those, so I thought it's just out of the picture for me. But then I found a secret course. No, I'm of course kidding. There's no there's no selling at this video. But I just thought that, okay, if I don't like working hard on things that I have no conviction about, or if I don't have passion in the things that I'm working towards, I can just have the discipline to try and go through the motions, right? I have the discipline to wake up early to go to the gym. Maybe I can have the discipline to, I don't know, instead of 100 messages per day, send 30 messages per day and kind of see where that takes me. So taking kind of inspiration and motivation out of the equation, because these are just emotions, and just focusing on going through the motions. No, doesn't matter if I kind of enjoy them or not. and then just see what happens, right? So then once you do kind of, once you go through these motions enough times, once you send out, enough cold messages, once you spend enough time on, the new software that you chose for your service delivery, once you try enough times to rewrite your copy, in all of those cases, you find yourself kind of, something in your head clicks, basically. If you send enough cold messages, someone replies. If you use that software, you suddenly get to the point where you feel as if you understand it, or the software actually does the thing that you want it to do. Once you rewrite your copy, 6, 7 times, and you refine that message over, a month, you see that the wording is much more kind of resonating with what you wanted initially. And these small realizations completely kind of changes how I thought about doing the work, so to say. Now you have kind of proof that the time that you put into a certain task actually has some merit and actually brings something to you rather than taking from you. And I'm not saying these have to be tangible big wins, right? This is the main point is about small wins, and it's not about getting your first client. It's not about getting signing your first deal. It's not about getting 100 likes on your post. These are obviously very celebratable, and they should be celebrated. It's more so about just kind of having these small moments of realization that you are getting better. So besides working on my own business and having a very non-functioning relationship with work, I worked with early stage startups that had a very let's say non-working product. Basically there was very little market validation or very little revenue. So having that as context for me to go and kind of start my own thing was always very daunting to me, because I thought that is just the way it is. That the hard work is kind of just that boring, and you just get no energy back. You just give, and there's nothing coming back. And the point of this video is to kind of for myself to just see that that's not actually the case. So is the goal then to chase these small wins, right? Is the goal then to kind of get someone to reply? I do think that it does not sound too healthy for me to chase a small dopamine release whenever you get that. And to be honest, I don't have a full answer, because that's still, I think, in a very, I'm still in a very much kind of transitionary or evolving phase. But in general, I wouldn't say that chasing for small wins seems healthy. What I think the kind of long-term solution is just to kind of go through these motions and use these small wins to convince yourself that what you do actually works. And that does sound very healthy to me, to be honest. So let's say let's have a hypothetical situation. Say if someone sent 1,000 emails manually, they would get rich. Or if someone would do 1,000 push-ups, they would get very ripped. What would you do? You would just very naturally start chipping away at those tasks. And it is that kind of lack of certainty that I think stops us from starting to go through these motions. And these small wins are very good milestones across the journey to keep your conviction and your energy high throughout the process. And coming back to these 2 examples, doing 1,000 emails or doing 1,000 push-ups, there's so much truth in that, and you can actually you will get those results. Just the numbers that I mentioned are a bit underappreciated. The numbers are a bit more. If everyone who sent 1,000 emails would get rich, that would be a very kind of unproportional equation. So it's that lack of certainty that makes it so difficult for you to keep going. And I think these small wins really put a perspective and put a lot of validation that your time works. So kind of to conclude, I think small wins, give that just enough of a hit of dopamine for you to feel validated in what you do. And we're all about, current kind of norms are all about setting big goals and big dreams and just having a growth mindset. And I'm 100% resonate with that. But I just found that the best thing that happened to me while I started working on my own business is just feeling those small, like the incremental progress in the things that I do and seeing that they actually work. For example, sending, cold outreach initially was just such a drag, but now that I see that people are actually starting to reply, it completely redefines and kind of changes my perspective on doing that certain activity. It also kind of resets expectations. So I think that's also super, super healthy. So these things, whenever you know that they work, actually become enjoyable. And they become, I think, being enjoyable because of two factors. So one is you become better at doing them naturally because you do them a lot. You become better. And whatever you are good at is just fun to do. I have no business playing a piano, but I bet if I actually knew how to do it, I would absolutely love it, And second thing is that you have enough conviction to understand that it actually works, right? So if you know that something works, then in your head it's just a matter of, okay, I put in this amount of time and this is the output that I'm gonna get. You just have such a different perspective on what it takes. So I hope this makes sense, first of all, because this is something that I have been thinking for a while now. And I found that it really redefined me from doing mundane, boring things that I found previously, very mundane and boring, and now I find them very different and I just have so much more patience in doing them. And I'm definitely a work in progress, and my journey is just kind of starting, but I found that it's getting better each week, each month, and I just have a bigger and better picture of everything. I'm very, very far away from very high skill or very high conviction, but I think that should only encourage you more because it means that absolutely everyone can do it and everyone can enjoy from it. And I think relying on motivation and inspiration is the worst thing that you can do because these are just emotions and these are gonna come and go every day. So relying on them is just a very unsustainable way of doing it. Thank you all for listening and see you next time.